Como va? This is Giuseppe from the District of Criminals. I pulled some strings and gotten you front row seats to my new show, The Perfect Triangle. Live, Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Revolution Radio Studio A. The Perfect Triangle is equilateral, three sides of the same length. In an angry, bipolar world, three perfect sides reveal many truths.
Body, mind, and spirit.
Thought, word, and deed.
Conspiracy, propaganda, and truth.
Natural health, allopathic tyranny, and your body.
Freedom, globalism, and sovereign nations.
And so much more. Each week, the Perfect Triangle will blast through fake news lies, champion the natural way and natural law, unravel the Orwellian deceptions of our corrupt government, reveal the satanic evil of globalist banks and transnational corporations. Tune in every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, to Revolution Radio Studio A for thoughtful discussions with free thinkers. Your calls are always welcome. The Perfect Triangle with Giuseppe from the District of Criminals. Join me, won't you?
This is Revolution Radio. Studio B. Are you ready? I'll dig spirits and stories both current and from days gone by. It's the Spectre Detective. With Christine Hart.
To the show, coming in live from London, and a little bit late on the air. It's 2 minutes past 9, and a tiny bit late. And I just got back from a little car journey, so yeah, back on the show. I hope this week some listeners will be able to say whether we're coming in or not. Okay, so yeah, things are fine, and yep. So here we are, and just going to see. We've got a lot of guests seem to be turning up in the chat right now. Let me see what I can do to. Oh no. I've got two guests clashing. Oh dear. So I've got two guests clashing. Sorry, two guests clashing. Never mind. I'll just bring on my co-host. Sorry, I'm not techie, so I struggle. Not techie at all. Not techie at all. One thing I don't want to do is to put the studio on hold. This happened last week. The studio got put on hold. Listeners couldn't hear. I'd be grateful if anybody is listening to let me know if the sound is here. Now, Jana is with me. Hi, Jana.
Evening, how are you? Beautiful.
Hiya. I've got two guests seem to be coming on all at once. I've got the Sheik. Oh dear. I've got the Sheik.
Your booty.
Yes, I've got him. And I've also got Brian. So I don't know what to do. I've probably actually got somebody else that's actually but it is hard because people don't turn up. Like I fell out with Lisa Williams, and
Buy one, get one free. Oh.
Well, I fell out with Lisa that time because she, rang me and it was 5 minutes to going on air, and she, we still don't really speak, and I think she thinks I overreacted, but what happens is people don't turn up, and then I book, a few people, and then they all turn up.
That was the emergency vet sketch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
she
that.
sent me her thing to say she had at 3:00 that afternoon gone there. Okay, so I'm just typing to the Sheik here. So this is terrible, isn't it? But it is hard. And, as you were saying earlier, Jana, I don't have donations. And and then, then it would help you and you could put more effort into the show. But as it is, sometimes, like last week, we put in 2 hours effort and then there was no show to be had, which was quite disconcerting, isn't it?
Well, we can soon fix that. Listeners, are you a sexy black magician? Would you like to enter our competition?
Oh, hang on. Should we do that at the end?
2021.
We've got Brian just gagging there because he needs to go to bed, so I'm going to have to bring him on.
Oh dear.
No, I'm bothered now. This is what happened last time. When I click on him to bring him on, I can't click on his button. Damn it. No, I can't. No, like you do other people. And what I did, I put the studio on hold, and so nobody could hear it. But we thought we were on air, but we weren't on air.
Oh, right. I see. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Well, at least you've learned. I mean, look at me busy leaving Revolution Radio playing in the background and not realising how many times have I done that, and then it's like echoing and I can't work out why. It's probably because you're concentrating on doing everything right.
Yeah, but thing is, I'm trying to bring him on now, and whereas when I brought you on, I clicked in the button on the side. When I click on his, it's not allowing me to click on his.
Well, do you think you've knocked us off the studio again? Is that what you mean?
No, but if I ring him, then I will let go of the studio. I know it. For some reason, okay, right, there's a long thing and it says add, right? Add to call. When I try to add him to the call, I can't.
Right, I've started recording just in case. I
can't add him to the call. It just says call free on Skype, but it's like calling him. So when I call him, I will cut off the studio.
What if I call him?
No, you can't call him because I can't
call him. Right. We'll message him and tell him that then.
Pardon?
Message him and tell him that they're having technical difficulties. Tech probs. Can't the studio advise us what to do?
There's nobody around. I mean, can you go in their chat room and ask them? I mean, see, I can't do all these 10 different things that you're supposed to be doing all at once.
Oh, right. So if you phone Brian, you're going to knock off the studio. That's what you think is going to happen. What if Brian phones you or rings you?
No, you can't do that. Can't do that. I'm the one who's hooked in the studio.
Right, but yeah.
So I add in people. No, it's okay. There's a list comes up of people. I click them. They go green, a green dot. Then I press add. When I go to him, I can't. No, don't ring me. No.
Is he ringing you?
Yeah. I've told him many, many times, oh, God, you can't ring me.
Stop it, Brian. Stop
it. Why can't people understand that he's ringing me? That's just wasting time now. listeners bored out of their minds, turned off. I've told him he can't ring me.
Joey, hey, you guys, we can hear you.
Yeah, that's great. Will you ask them, Mitzi? I can't seem to bring him on. Can you monitor me, please, when I bring him on? But I can't seem to add him. When it says add, I seem to have to press a button that says call on Skype. You need to ring him on Skype. I'll try, but I don't want to. I don't want to lose us. So please do stay with me, and I'll try to do this. So he's not coming. Call free on Skype. There we are. I'll try and bring him in that way. Add in, and hopefully those guys will message again to say we haven't lost.
Hello.
Hi Brian.
There's
How
Brian.
are you?
Hello. How are you doing, guys?
Great.
Good evening, Brian.
Good evening.
Hiya.
Brian, why have you still got your Christmas tree up? Should be down by now, huh?
Oh no, because it was Christmas only 2 days ago. We remember in Ukraine we follow the Gregorian.
You told us that you have like a Christmas and then another Christmas and a New Year and another New Year.
Yeah, it's really good. So yeah, we're still following the. Christmas was only like a few days ago, so we're still in the Christmas spirit here. So it's been good.
Excellent.
Lovely.
So anyway, let's crack on with the show because listeners are probably going to get really upset with us. There was a lot of faffing around, Brian, at the start. So do you want to just crack on with telling us what you're going to tell us?
Well, you wanted to speak about candle magic, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we had the show last week where we went on about it and lost it basically. So I don't know. Shall we? Do you want to talk about enhancing it, or do you want to talk about? But we got to the point where.
Let's talk about the theory behind what is candle magic.
Okay,
yeah.
that will do. Thanks.
Okay. Well, you have to go right back. You really have to go right back to understand what makes candle magic work.
Brian, can I just interrupt you a second? Yeah. The studio have just messaged me and they've said if you turn your video off so we can't see you but we can hear you, the sound will be better.
Okay, right, yeah, no problem.
Sorry about that, but
no problem.
It might improve things. Thank you.
Okay, carry on, Brian. Carry on.
Okay, right. So we have to go right back, really, probably to sort of like, as back as you can go. Every culture talks about light being part of the higher level communication. Yeah? Okay. Now, one of the most important things to understand is that we are made of light. It doesn't matter. This theory comes from Crowley. It comes from people in the scientific community. Tesla being one of them. You know, they literally, everybody says the same thing, that we are made of light, we are made of energy. Within the sort of Muslim religion, they talk about the Nur, or Nur, which is N-U-R, and this essentially is the universal light, which is also spoken about in Sufism. So essentially, when you're doing candle magic, you're tuning in to that level of consciousness, if you wish. Yeah. So when people are when you're doing proper candle magic, then essentially you are literally tuning in to what is essentially the soul mechanism.
The what? Sorry.
Soul mechanism. You're tuning into what is what we are. We are energy. We are light.
Okay.
Yeah? So, and the other thing as well is that you're juxtaposing the candle for whatever entity that you wish to speak to, or you wish to communicate with. Okay, and then that is understanding how you're speaking and what you have to do to communicate with the entity. Like, say, for example, when we burn a white candle, the white candle is representing purity, peace, truth, and hope. That's why you see them in church. That's why you see them in most religious places. You'll see a white candle. On the other side, the more negative side, which it isn't actually really the negative side, you've got the black candle. Interestingly, the black candle is protection and stability. And it's also very good for absorbing negative energy. So if you're being attacked or you're in a situation where you think that you're suffering from the evil eye or something like that, burning a black candle is really one of the best things that you can do. For example, I think I mentioned this last week. Sometimes some people can be overzealous with their spiritual work, say like meditation or communicating with the spirits. And one of the best ways to sort of really ground yourself is to use a brown candle, to burn a brown candle and meditate on the brown candle. Now, red, that's the act, that's like the sex, that's the courage, that's the strength, and that is the action. Orange is joy, energy, and success. Yellow is for clarity and manifesting. Green is for money, luck and fertility and healing. Blue is for forgiveness and communication. Quite often people, when you're doing a candle ritual, they will burn the blue candles closer to their deity symbolism so that you can open up the lines of communication. Purple, that is for wisdom and tranquility, and pink is for harmony and love. Once again, you can support the candles with iconography or representation of the deity that you are talking to. Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Does there always have to be a deity you're talking to?
Well, you've got the choice of pests or cats. Essentially, if you're not concentrating on what you're doing, then you can be communicating with any kind of deity, which may or may not be welcome. So the most logical way to do it is understanding where you are directing your energy to. There are a lot of people who believe that magic is nothing more than psychology. However, there's some of us that believe that it's probably a combination of the two, that it is psychology and it's also tuning into something which really cannot be explained rationally. So understanding this, the more, if you like, the clearer your mental preparation for any magical working, the better the result, to put it bluntly. Okay?
Sorry, I'm eating a walnut.
What are you doing?
Sorry. Say I was wanting to get rid of black magic done on me, so I got hold of a black candle.
Yeah, you got a black candle, and you would probably use a deity like Michael if you were a Christian, yeah?
Right. Okay.
If you were not Christian, there are many that use the deity Astralud, Asta Ruladu, sorry.
Put your teeth in, Brian.
Ruladu, Asta Ruladu. He's one that many people use as well. If you were going to use a Djinn, you'd probably use King Shamash. Interestingly, King Shamash is exactly the same deity as Saint George, believe it or not. Yeah, he was. Shamash was originally from Morocco. His colour is green, so he's probably Jan. And when the Crusaders came back, they came back with the image of said Shamash and contrived it into the image that we understand is now George and the Dragon.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
so who is the dragon then? If it's come from the Middle East, then or we added that?
Well, no, in the original pictures of him, the dragon is still there. It's however, it's probably doesn't mean what you think it means. The Jinn are always warring among themselves. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you said that. Yeah. And
so the dragon may be representative of another Jinn clan, but the actual I can share it with you. I can share it with you if you wish, so you can see it. 1 second. Let's see if I can share this picture with you. 1 second.
Okay.
Didn't you say not to call on the Jinn because it means you get stuck with them after you die?
Well, no. That it depends what sort of relationship you have with them. Yeah. If you're going to completely envelop yourself in a relationship with the Jinn, then you are going to hamper any chances you have of sort of like moving to higher levels of consciousness. There is King Shamash. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
He looks exactly the same as George and the Dragon. Okay.
Kushti, so you were saying so you can ask them for little bits and bobs, but not too much.
Well, the thing is it's like a drug. Yeah, it's like a drug. If you're a person who is strong-willed and you can control your alcoholic intake, then you can probably drink all your life and never become an alcoholic. However, what people forget is that when they overindulge in alcohol, they often end up physically and spiritually in a bad place. And it's the same where if you're working with entities such as the Jinn or darker entities, it's very rare that you can work with these entities and not come out the other side with some kind of damage, because it's impossible, because essentially, you're dealing with things which are so much more powerful than you are.
But then why are you saying you can call on this particular one then?
Well, no, you can call on all of them, yeah? You can call on all of them, but like I said, it's like having a drink. If you have a small drink, then that's fine, yeah? However, the more immersed you become in the alcohol, the more likely you are to become addicted. And it's the same way as if you immerse yourself into sort of like, these really quite strong gods, then essentially you will become more and more attracted and more addicted to them. Being a magician, one has to be incredibly controlled, because if you're not controlled, then essentially something controls you, to put it bluntly.
So that one where that one said to me about offering me a house, and if I would have a room in it that was a portal for them, I could have gone ahead and done that, really.
Well, you could have gone ahead and done that, but the thing is you didn't really stipulate what the rules were, yeah? It's all right them telling you one thing and doing, but you have to, when you're dealing with any entity, you have to make sure that you are remaining safe, and that sort of what you're entering into doesn't have any hidden barbs or anything that will be detrimental to yourself. It's the same with any business dealing.
So what should I have said in that case?
Well, I mean, essentially, you have to protect yourself. How at risk are you in accepting this deal? And the thing is they will lie to you. So you have to ask the right questions. You have to understand, you're dealing with an entity, and the entity, its main drive is to absorb energy. And so, you could end up giving it lots of energy, or you could end up giving it your life if you get it wrong, to put it bluntly.
Right.
So, this is like a serious game. But it's the same with any religion or any deity. I mean, there are people who have completely messed themselves up, in Christianity. You can see it all the time. I mean, if we go back to sort of like the late 80s, early 90s, do you remember the pop star Donna Summers? Yes?
Uh-huh. Yes, I know about this.
Yeah, she became a Christian, didn't she?
Yeah.
And then she said, "I would rather starve than gay people buy my records." That's what she said. And of course, the gay
I didn't hear that one. It was something else that I heard.
Yeah. And the gay people stopped buying the records, and of course she started to starve.
I heard it's because she wouldn't go along with the satanic agenda.
No, it was to do with she was a born again Christian, and she was anti-gay coming to her concert. And generally speaking, Donna Summers' whole following from that period was mainly gay men, really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is the problem, that, if you envelop yourself in something and you stop thinking rationally, well, it's like what Kierkegaard said, sort of like Kierkegaard says, if you I could better get this right. He said if people who involve themselves in believing stuff which is incredible, they are prepared to commit the atrocious to keep that belief system. And you can see it all the time when people say such incredible things which are just unbelievable. They will go to any length to try and still keep you believing in it.
About that one.
What about the black candle?
Well, the black candle, generally speaking, I mean, once again, it all depends what deity you use, but generally speaking, the black candle is to absorb negativity.
So you just burn it. You can't burn it all the time because the one goes out. Maybe burn it for a few hours in the morning and.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is what you have to understand is what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, essentially, say for example, you're wanting to get rid of a curse, then you would light your significant candle, your significator would be the black candle. So you would sit and you would light what they call the petitioner candle, and you would then say what this candle represents. Yeah.
And what would it represent?
Well, that depends on you. Maybe you want the candle to represent Michael. Yeah. So you would say this candle represents Michael, and as it burns, so it burns in spirit. Yeah. So it burns in the spirit of Michael.
So hang on a sec, bit lost. I thought that the candle, when you said something would represent it, I thought that it would be something like the candle represents I want to get rid of all the dark magic done to me. But you're saying...
Well, yeah, I mean, work it out. I mean, how can burning a candle get rid of all the dark magic? You have to associate it with some kind of deity, and then you light the candle, and that candle aligns with the deity, aligns with the energy. You can't just burn a candle, regardless what they tell you. It's impossible.
That's what it says in books, isn't it? Okay. No, I agree. It always seemed a bit bloody weird to me. Now it's been explained. Thank you. So, but when do you... Okay, so I light a candle. So I light the black candle, and say I decide to call on, like we talked earlier about Yahweh. You said he was a storm god, and I said that didn't really bother me. Is it okay? Is he a Djinn? You said he was a Djinn.
Well, I think to understand the whole Djinn thing, you've got to look at where the Djinns came from. I mean, it's since the destruction of the library at Alexandria, we've only got like sketches of information, and if you look back in time, the Djinn were part of Mesopotamia, and Samaria and stuff like this. However, you can easily trace influences from Greece and places like this, the Olympiad gods. A part of me.
That picture that I put on my Facebook.
I mean, when we go back so far, it's very difficult to understand who influenced who. I mean, if you go right back in time, it's pretty obvious that the Muslims were heavily influenced by Christianity and Buddhism, which is which is quite strange. But you can find the texts which illustrate to illustrate these this thing. I mean, like for example. There's many academic works which, look at the concepts of something called Thagarata and Nur Muhammad. And Thagarata is a kind of a Buddhism, and Nur Muhammad is suggesting that Muhammad is light. And if you understand about Buddhism often talk about the different levels of light. So it's. When you go right back to these places, these early history places, it does seem that a lot of the religions borrow from each other. But the sad thing is I think I've mentioned this before, that you can go anywhere in the world and you can buy a drink containing alcohol, and it will be called millions and millions of things, Like if you like beer, you can drink beer all the way around the world, and they're all called different. All the beers are called different beers. However, the device which is in the drink, which makes you intoxicated, is the alcohol, and all beers tend to be between 4% and 6%. So the thing that you can be rest assured about is that the 4 to 6% alcohol is what intoxicates you, not necessarily the name of the beer. Yeah. Okay.
So going back to Yahweh might well be a Djinn. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it could be a Djinn, or he could be. He could represent. He could represent Thor. He could represent Zeus even, sort of like Zeus was a storm god, and
or maybe Odin.
Could be Odin. I mean, they're all very much of a muchness, and like I said, it's maybe it's not so wise to look at what they are called, but what they actually represent. Sort of like. Beer represents alcohol. The gods represent spiritual power. So, it doesn't really matter what you call the god. It's it's does it help you focus on the spiritual power?
I suppose people mostly want to know that always.
Sorry, you cut out.
Is that the one and only? Is that the Most High? I think that's what bothers people when they use the word God.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the thing is that that's very much a Christian concept, really. I mean, Christianity's only been around sort of like 2,000 years. I mean, realistically, if you look at early Judaism, for example, if you look at the Sword of Moses, there's at least 6 gods in the Sword of Moses. Yeah,
is there?
And that was like the original Judaic worship. Yeah, so polytheism.
Hang on, what was the original Judaic worship? His sword.
It was called, one of the earliest books relating to the earliest worship is called the Sword of Moses. And in the Sword of Moses, it mentions all the gods. However,
what gods does it mention?
God, there's about half a dozen. There really is half a dozen.
Which ones are they? I mean, roughly, do you remember?
Well, I can sort of like the Sword of Moses. It's sort of like Let me have a look.
I thought they were Saturn worshippers.
Well, I mean, once again, it's sort of like, it's so, to understand who is a Saturn worshipper, you have to look at the colours that they use. Now, the Catholic Church use black, yeah, and black is a definite colour of Saturn. The Muslims use black. Once again, it's a definite colour of Saturn. Yeah. Okay. Now there is a Saturn. What do you call it? Saturn Moon alliance as well, and that's very predominant within the what do you call it? The Muslim religion. Okay. Yeah.
The Saturn Moon Alliance is prominent in the Muslim religion.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at the Muslim structure of worship, they have black clothes on, and they have the sun. Yeah, they have the moon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a thing. I've just sent you all the names of gods there for you, Chris. Okay.
Oh, so it's got you.
I've just sent you a section from the book, and you can see how many gods there actually are.
So can people still get hold of that book?
It's an academic book. It's really it's quite dry and boring, really. I mean, it's only sort of what people, if you really want to understand what early Judaic worshippers were honouring, and it gives you all the names of the gods. However, the names are not complete because the vowels are missing, because they did never put the vowels in with the names because the names were considered too holy. And this has caused real problems because now really nobody understands how the words are said. There's a really interesting book by Lon Milo Duquette, which he calls Chicken Soup Kabbalah, and Yahweh could easily be pronounced as Yahoo. So like I said, we're dealing with belief systems which are thousands and thousands of years old. But not only that, they've been messed around with so much that we have really no idea what is left. Yeah.
So why is the obsession? Why is there such an obsession with Creator God? I know I'm praying to the Creator God, and I suppose people are worried that they're talking to demons and evil, and only the Creator God is the one that's good, whereas the others are sort of.
Well, you have to look at the history of Christianity, okay? I mean, the history of Christianity, it grew from a cult, and the cult was of the Christos, which bluntly means anointed. And in the cult of the Christos, realistically, once again, they're speaking about the Nur. They're speaking about the light which is within you, and the light that is within other people. And then it wasn't until really the Council of Nicaea, but I mean, the Council of Nicaea was just one of many councils they had where the Christos was then introduced as the one God. However, if you read sort of like early Gnostic material, he and even the Bible, he doesn't declare himself as God. And essentially the early Gnostic material, the stuff with the Cathars and stuff like this, they are talking about light within oneself. They're not talking about one and only polarized God. And interestingly, if you really dig into the past of Muhammad, everything points to Muhammad worshipping Allah, and Allah. Most academics believe that Allah was a moon god, which ended up being called the God. And even within the structure of Muslim worship, the early days of Mohammedism, if you wish, he suggested that they worship the daughters of Allah. I mean, this is what he said, and then he reneged on this and said, no, that was the devil telling me to worship, for you to worship the daughters of Allah. So, that in itself tells me that, the Allah and the daughters of Allah are more than just a passing coincidence. Yet when, this is what the book Salman Rushdie's book was about, the Satanic Verses. The Satanic Verses was allegedly Satan told Muhammad that his followers should worship the Allah's daughters, whereas Allah, he was saying that Allah was the one God, where all the historical evidence points to Allah being classed as the top God of many other gods. So, and that's literally how it is. And with the Christians, I mean, essentially it was just, if you read it, it was just it was just a Roman psyop. They wanted a passive God for the Jews to follow. Jesus was the first passive God. I mean, if you look at all the other gods, none of them are passive. Yet Jesus is passive, and it doesn't make any sense. And if you go back to like the Nag Hammadi texts and stuff like this, when they're looking for the Messiah, they're looking for a Messiah that's going to wipe out the Romans. They're not looking for a God of peace. However, after the Romans rewrote the Bible, well, it was the Piso family. After the Piso family rewrote the Bible, we ended up with a very passive one and only God. But essentially, if you look at the history of religion, it's all religions before Christianity were pantheist, and Muslim, of course. Even Judaism was pantheist. I've just sent you all the list of the gods that they worshipped. So, to me, there is not a lot of credibility to the Christian religion, because essentially there's at least 4 councils, and they moved away from the idea of what early Christianity was, which was the light within and moving. That's what Jesus was saying, that you can find heaven within yourself. They're talking about the eternal soul and the light within the soul. All this is very Buddhist. Yeah, and then they turned round and said that that Jesus was the one true God, but there is no evidence that Jesus was the one true God by any stretch of the imagination.
Or that he was Yahweh. He's very different from Yahweh, isn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean the Old Testament gods per se, are very, very different to what Jesus is. And once again, that's another telltale sign where, there isn't continuation. I mean, realistically, Yahweh, apart from the raping, pretty much fits Zeus. Yeah, whereas Zeus was hot-tempered, Zeus was destroying the world and stuff like this. Whereas Yahweh is very much the same. Like I said, if you when we go right back to the beginning of what is religious beliefs, they all borrowed from each other in a very sad way. I'm not an atheist, but obviously all my life I've looked for what is the truth, and the only truth.
Sorry, which God made us then?
Well, I mean, this. I mean, it sort of depends what religious.
Well, what do you think? What do you think?
Well, what do I think? I mean, the evidence points to the Anunnaki.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, do you know about the Anunnaki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Anunnaki messed around with a chimpanzee, and out we came.
Yeah.
And then essentially from then we kind of, if you like, started developing religions and all this kind of thing. But like the evidence from the Sumerian texts is overwhelming. At some stage somebody messed around with our genetics to form a human. Yeah, and it's not just.
But haven't we got a God we can call on, like a father, or we're just on our own out here?
Well, I mean, the thing is if you look at all the look at all the Eastern religions, yeah, they all talk about the God being within yourself, and that's what Jesus was talking about. He was saying that that the God was in yourself. I mean, there's a very good reason why he was talking about that. I mean. There is enough historical evidence to suggest that Jesus did live in Kashmir, and in Kashmir he would have been subject to Hinduism and he would have been subject to Buddhism, and then when he came back to Palestine, he probably came back with a lot of the Muslim and Buddhist ideas, yeah, and because of that, he was really frowned on, because essentially they didn't want this guy saying all this stuff about the kingdom of heaven is within you, because I mean that was contrary to what they wanted. They didn't want that, to put it bluntly.
So going back to calling people on the candle magic. So if one lit a candle and say called on Zeus, how do we know that he might not like the human monkey? He might, I mean, how do we know?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at sort of like the history of, say, Zeus, yeah, I mean, we're looking at the Olympian gods, yeah. Now, it's really interesting about the Indian gods. The gods from Olympia. Really, really interesting, because essentially they are very human, so to speak. Yeah, they've all got really appalling behavior structures. Like if we look at Zeus, he loves his girls. Yeah, I've sent you some more information about India. About
thank you.
About the Russian explorer Notovich. I mean, essentially, he was a very human god. I mean, if you look at Hera, his wife was absolutely terrible. I mean, Zeus was terrible. I mean, he was like raping people, seducing people all over the place.
So, what are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is that when you're dealing with older gods, you really have to understand how you want to communicate with them. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like it's having the right God for what you want to do.
Well, why would any of them give a shit about somebody in their bedroom wanting a bit more money? I mean, they wouldn't, would they?
I mean, once again, you sort of like all these gods have one thing in common, which is it's power. Yeah, if you look at all the pantheon gods, they all get off on power,
and we've got nothing to offer them.
Well, we do. We have our dedication. If we dedicate ourselves to the god, then essentially it gets power. Yeah.
How?
Well, how? Because of our mental energy, our physical energy, our dedicating ourselves to the entity, or even working with the entity. Sort of like we're dealing with, like I said, we're dealing with entities or that really crave power, and essentially that's if you read any of the Greek myths, it's all the same thing. It's about power. If you read the Indian Mahabharata and stuff like this, it's all about power. If you read about Odin,
I hear you, but I mean, some people even put down like drink and all that. It's all a bit petty, really. I just think for an actual god to listen to someone in their bedroom saying they want, I don't know, George over there to fancy them a bit more, or lighting a pink candle and laying down a bottle of wine. I mean, really?
What the wine is to do is if we look at the Catholic Mass, the Catholic Mass essentially is ritual magic. The priest will hold up the host and say, "This is my body, eat of it," and then he holds up the wine and says, "This is the blood, sort of drink the blood." And essentially, this transmutation is a way of connecting with the god. So when people
which one?
Both. No,
the host, sorry. Which god are they?
I don't know. I mean, you pays your money, you takes your choice. I mean, let's look at the Catholic faith. They talk about Melchizedek, they talk about Yahweh, they talk about God, they talk about Jesus, they talk about Mary. Then they have an absolute catalogue of saints and angels. Yeah, So it's like you tell me what they're worshipping. Seriously.
I don't know. I've certainly attended many masses and drunk much wine.
Yeah, but who are they worshipping then?
I don't
Seriously. know. In the service they mention Melchizedek, they mention Simon Peter, they mention the apostles, they mention whatever saint it is on that day. They mention the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity, realistically, is a reflection of what the Egyptian Trinity. Horus, Isis, and Osiris. This is where this is coming from. So when one is working with candle magic, you have to understand what type of deity you want to work with. Plus, you have to understand what is the personality of this deity and what this deity means to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of like candle magic is just so prevalent. Going back to the Catholic Church, if you go to the Catholic Church, they have the incense, they have the candles. They've got everything. They've got the whole 9 yards. However, it's very, very hard to work out who you're praying to.
What are they? So the bit where they do the water, the sherry into blood, is that we're drinking the blood of the deity?
Well, yeah. I mean, I believe they say it's the Christ. It represents the blood of the Christ. However, who is the Christ? Yeah, because Christos is from the Greek, which means anointed. Okay. And so, essentially, who is the Christos? I mean, we accept it to be Jesus, but there's enough evidence to show there's been at least 3 Jesuses, at least.
So going back to the candle magic, we just got 5 minutes left up to the hour. if I picked Yahweh, the storm god, would I sit there imagining thunder and lightning and connect that way?
Well, yeah, it depends how you connect it. But like I said, I mean, you'd light your sort of like the two candles you'd light first are the light blue ones. Yeah, the light blue ones are to sort of, if you like, to start connecting with higher levels of consciousness. You would then meditate, and when you meditate, you would try and get a pretty good idea of what deity you're doing, and the next candle you would light, which would be the petitioner candle, and you would think hard on who is representing this petitioner. In your case, it would be Yahweh, and then you would say this candle represents Yahweh. As it burns, so does his spirit. Yeah, so so essentially, what you're trying to do is we're going back to, if you like, the Nur concept or the Buddhist concept of the light. You are trying to connect your inner light energy with the external light, which is in front of you. Right. Yeah, does that make sense?
Oh yes, we're going for a break now.
Okay.
Sorry, just three minutes break. Everyone can mute. Thank you. Back in a minute.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
The future is uncertain. I know this. Death is inevitable. I know this. But one thing is certain. As free men, it is our right to live unencumbered and in peace. And those times are quickly drawing to an end. And in these times, peace is certainly an illusion. And as the chains grow tighter, our ability to slip those chains increase incrementally with every passing moment. Inaction is no longer an option. It's time to raise our voices like a cacophony of thunder and lightning and tell the masters no more. And this is Nighthawk, and I say, for myself, no more. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, because the freedom is slipping away.
Be evasive. But that doesn't mean that they're telling the truth as opposed to fiction.
And Genesis chapter 6 verse 4, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, indicating that there were giants before the Nephilim.
And sons of God, plural. They weren't talking about Jesus coming down.
No, that's right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm Steve Crawford, host of Factor Theory Live. Join me every Sunday night from 10 p.m. till midnight Eastern Standard Time on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Check it out.
I want to thank everybody for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the one place where information never sleeps. Revolution Radio.
All right, let's show them what we got now.
Please,
Hi, Karl Marx here. I am all seriousness today, my friends. There is this show you must not listen to. The Ultimate Remedy with this guy, LB. This guy has figured me out. I hear it on Tuesday, and he is telling the truth. I mean lies. Stay away from this guy. Where's my good hairbrush? Anybody see me? Mama!
Want to learn more about the Marxist agenda and other important stuff? Listen to The Ultimate Remedy with LB Bork, Tuesdays 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on Revolution Radio.
All right, thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
Hi, it's Christine Hart. Welcome back to Spectre Detectives with my co-host Jana and also with Brian Barrett. Pardon?
I said evening.
Sorry, I've been hogging the conversation. I know I have. It's just
it's fine. I didn't want to interrupt the flow.
I'm just fascinated by the. I'm just interested. I want to do it myself. You see, and so I'm quite curious. Just to finish off quickly, we've got to do a second half of the show, Brian. When you connected up, you've got your meditation, you've lit in your big black candle and your two blue ones, and you've got your little picture. When do you say what you actually want?
Well, that's after you've written the blue ones, you then go to sort of like your main candle, the candle that you actually really want to concentrate on. You petition a candle, yeah. That can be anybody who you want, Zeus, whatever, yeah, whoever Yahweh. You want it to, Yahweh, whatever you want it to be, and then you, like I said, you use the flame on the candle to be, if you like, your guiding light for your inner energy to connect with this flame. So so essentially, your cause that you're trying to sort of create a spiritual union. So
I get that.
Yeah, and that's roughly how you do it. You can't.
Hang on. I've got the spiritual union. So I've got my spiritual union, and then do I say, I want George to look at me a bit more, or I want more money, or. Because
I did suggest we could do a ritual on air for you, where essentially, you. Like, say, if you want money, you would use,
green candle, but I'm just getting how you word it. I mean, what do you say? Oh, hi, Yahweh, I'm glad you're here
right.
in front of me. Example, can I have a bit more money? Oh, it seems a bit weird. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, you'd probably say something like this, all right? You would sort of like, after you've lit all the candles and you've then meditated, you would then pause for a moment and you would say, as money and energy is necessary for the fulfillment of my needs or our needs, yeah, so must we ever strive to obtain it. I believe that everything should be earned and not received, yeah. So I want the opportunity to earn. And then you ask for the need of, in your case, it would be Yahweh, to be present and intense, and to draw money to yourself, to draw energy to yourself, yeah, and to supply and to meet your agent wants, and for it to the gods to provide what you needed. And essentially, you're only asking because you need it. You're not asking it from greed. You're only wanting what will be sufficient, yeah? And you're not asking from want. You're not asking from desire. And then you say, this energy and money is in the name of Yahweh. Hold it in your hands. Imagine it in your hands. Praise the God, yeah? Then sit quietly for 5 minutes and concentrate on it. And then you would probably say something like Psalm 34 if you were going to do a Christian ritual. And in Psalm 34, you would probably say it 3 times. Yeah, it's a very long psalm, but you would say it 3 times. Another thing that you could do is, if you wanted to contact with a deity like Yahweh, you would probably use the original Our Father. I don't know if you've translated from Aramaic. Have you ever? Yeah, it's really interesting. It's sort of like it's very quickly. It's Ours art from whom the breath of life comes, who films all realm of sound and light and vibration. May your light be experienced in my utmost holiness. Your heavenly domain approaches. Let your will come true in the universe that all vibrates, just as on earth, that this is the material and dense. Give us the wisdom, understanding, and assistance for our daily need. Detach the fetters of faults that bind us, like we let go of the guilt of others. Let us not be lost in superficial things, materialism, common sense, and temptation, but let us be freed from what keeps us from our true purpose. From
that's
you,
lovely.
Yeah, from
sorry.
you. Yeah, from you, I'll just last verse. From you, all the workings will and lively strength to act, the song that beautifies and renews from age to age, sealed in trust and faith. Amen.
That's lovely. Could you send me that later? It's really nice.
Yeah, that's the original. That's the original Our Father. Okay, actually, it's really cool. But as you can see, it's nothing. It's nothing to do with what we've been told it was. This is why they're holding back all the information in the Nag Hammadi texts and stuff like this, because essentially the early Christianity is probably nearer to Buddhism than anything else. Seriously, you know. I've sent you the prayer, by the way.
Oh, thank you. The Sheik. Remember the Sheik, Brian?
Yeah.
He's he was in Skype and asked me could he come on. I don't know, we should talk about what. Would you mind or
I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Not 1 inch, you know. That's
okay.
Or I can go if you wish. I don't mind.
No, I'd like you to stay.
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
Okay, I'll bring him on. I don't know what we're going to discuss. Perhaps one of us, Jana, you could put forward. What do we talk about? Oh, hello, Sheik. How are you?
Fine.
Oh, could you kill the visuals? It's nice to see you, but it ruins it because it's radio. But lovely to see you. There. Welcome to the show. We've got Jana, my co-host, and got Brian.
Evening.
Evening.
Okay, welcome, John and Brian.
Hi. Salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Now we're all here together. What should we talk about? Probably have to talk about the Djinn, won't we? Because I suppose that's a topic we all know about. And should we? Or something else?
Yeah, why not? It'd be fun.
Okay, go ahead, Brian. You launch.
Well, I'm not in the same league as the Sheikh. I mean, I've only studied the Djinn from the perspective of like a Westerner. I've not been brought up with the culture. Yeah. However, I've lived with the culture and I've seen the power of the Djinn. I've seen a fit and healthy policeman reduced to a pensioner, somebody who's like 22, 25, no energy. And then I've seen an experienced gym master come along and take the Djinn from him. And then this person is like a miraculous recovery, just came back to life. But for literally, according to his friends, for 3 months, the best he could do was go to the toilet and move from the couch. You know, so the Djinn are exceptionally real, in my opinion.
Yeah. I noticed that I was watching some of the Sheik's videos, and you were conversing with the Djinn through the people that you were casting them out of, and they were talking about
what's going on recently in the New World Order and sacrificing babies. And I found it interesting, and I posed a question last week to Brian that the Djinn were responsible for what's going on at the moment. I know people are calling it a communist takeover, what with Trump, going, and now he's bound off Twitter and Facebook, all important Facebook and Twitter. But do you think this is the work of the Djinn, Sheikh?
It is the work of jinns with humans. Right. The jinns don't do it alone. Naturally speaking, the human is stronger than the jinn, and many people think that by using jinns they can get power and things, and also the jinns will deceive them because the people don't see these jinns and they just suppose that the jinns are doing what they want them to do, but they're both tricky because both of them are satanic. It's not healthy people that are doing these things, but the jinns are always more vicious, or they're always one step ahead because they see better what's happening from their point of view. They see our world and their world. So, but actually, if it was the jinns alone, they could not harm us that much. It is because some people are working with the devil and using magic that they manage to harm the people.
Oh. And who is the leader, Djinn? It's this Iblis character. And is that a fallen angel or is that somebody else?
Well, the Islamic point of view is Iblis, Satan is a jinn. So the Quran says that God created man and jinn to worship him. That means it is the two species that have the free will to do good or bad. The angels also worship God, but they have no will, they have no choice, they're just programmed that way. And we can also say that trees and others also worship, but they don't have a free will. It's only the human and the jinns. But the jinns are closer to the angel. There's a similarity because our body is created from soil, so we're linked to the plants and everything we need in the physical world, and they are created from fire. So they are a pure energy, and they can not use food and not care about cold and heat, and they can be fast, not as fast as light, but as fast as electricity. So they are very fast. So the jinns, by nature, they are closer to the angels. So if a jinn does good, he becomes brighter and whiter until he becomes like light, because the angels are created from light, just pure light. And if he does bad, if he's evil, he will become darker and darker and turn into a devil and become a devil. So Iblis, before the creation of Adam, he was worshipping Allah to a point that he was close to the angels. So when God created Adam, the first human, he asked the angels to bow to him, to recognize his superiority, not to worship him. And Iblis refused. So from there, he was cursed, and he decided to become the enemy of mankind, but also of jinns. So his work is to drive people astray, away from God. So the devils have a big role in sorcery, because the magician is someone who will sell his soul to the devil. He will do a pact with the devil. He will worship him in a way or another, or do something that goes against religion, against God. And that way, that devil will put jinns under his service to use them to harm people, even if it is to help people. Like some people will do magic to get money, or to get power, or to get a woman or a man, or to get whatever advantage. But that has more disadvantages for himself than advantages. So he's just putting magic on himself and ruining his life, thinking that he's doing something good for himself. So anyway, it can only be used for harming.
What do you think of that, Brian?
I mean, I understand what he's saying, but unfortunately, from my experience, the Muslim community doesn't follow this rule, because you can go to any Muslim community and they still employ the Shia. I know many Shia. When I was in India, in Ferez, Shalkota, I got to know quite a lot of the Jinn masters there, and many had Muslims coming to them and asking the Jinn for favors. So so to me it was quite surprising that on one level of Muslim worship it's not to do this, yet on the other level they all still use the Shia. Would you not agree with that, Sheikh?
It is a reality. Unfortunately, that is something we are fighting. But what can I say? The devil is quite clever and always finding tricks to make people believe in it in different ways. Well, unfortunately, that is something we are fighting. And everywhere in the Muslim world, the people doing magic, they do it under cover of religion. And that is so painful for us, but that is a reality.
Yeah, I mean, I've met many Shia, and yeah, I agree with you. But however, they're still very prominent within the Muslim community. They also, I've had first-hand experience of this, and I've seen this where a Muslim man will meet a non-Muslim woman, and they go to see the Shia, and they will ask the Shia to use one of the Jinn to encourage the woman to take up the Muslim religion. And I've seen it happen, and so it's to me it's very strange. If it's so negative, then why have they got the power to change somebody's mind and make them want to become Muslim? I mean, I don't think it's as clear as what we said. And the other thing as well is the famous prayer, the English translation, the footstool. It says that Allah's power is both in the Kaf and it's on earth as well. And that's really confusing, because obviously Allah controls the Jinn and he also controls the human. So if he controls both Jinn and everything is through his power, then I don't see the problem, if that makes any sense.
The problem is these people use jinns through Satanism. That is the problem. If it was good jinns that are helping people kindly, and that is very, very rare, so it wouldn't be a problem. That the problem is there, and I will mention an example. You see, we have these, I don't know if you hear about ta'weez or talismans.
Yeah, ta'weez, ta'weez, yeah.
Yeah, ta'weez is the Urdu, or the way they use it in India and Pakistan and Bangladesh. But it exists nearly everywhere in Muslim world. Anyway, it is talismans that people attach, and usually it has grids and numbers and things, and that is a satanic thing. And I was once having a debate with Indian Maulanas, I mean scholars, and they were defending this because their seniors have done it and have taught it. And this Maulana I was discussing with, he showed me a book, and he said the person who wrote this book is a peer, means he's a saint. I said, how can you say he's a saint? You can say he's a scholar, he's got such degrees, but how can you say? He said, yes, whenever someone comes to ask him for food, he will tell him, go in the room and he will find food when there was no food. When he will ask for money, he will say, just remove my carpet, and he will find the money under the carpet when there was no money. And that was happening all the time.
Sorry. There are many jinns which are classed as pious jinns. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember who it was. And there
what was the book? Can I have the title?
Which book?
The Indian book.
No, I don't have the title because there were many books, and it's all manuals of these grids. So, excuse me, I was interrupted. So, can I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So he was telling me, so this is a saint who wrote this book, and it's a manual of sorcery. For me, that's clear. So we brought the jinns that are attached to this because we have this, as you have seen, jinn catching procedure that we can bring any jinn and discuss with him. And that guy has died. He died in the 70s. So I said, you're with him? They said, yes. I said, you're giving him this power to give people food or money at any time? They said, yes. I said, so the jinns were doing that. It's not something coming from God like a miracle of Jesus or of other prophets that could do things without jinns, but directly from God who created. I said, so what was he doing for that? They said he was praying without ablution. And this is a satanic thing in Islam, that we need to do ablution before prayer. So if you don't, you are making a wrong prayer, and that prayer not be for God. It's an insult to God.
Yeah, but there's, sorry, yeah. But there's been others like sort of prophets who have worked with the jinn. I mean, like Ibn Taymiyyah, yeah?
Taymiyyah?
Yeah, Taymiyyah, Ibn Taymiyyah.
Yes.
Yeah, he worked with the jinn, and he was a very pious Muslim.
Well, what is reported from Ibn Taymiyyah is that he treated people that were affected by jinn. So what he was doing is reading Quran and telling the jinns to leave the person and to become Muslim and to go. He's not reported to have jinn companions or doing miracles with jinns.
No, but there is cases of the jinns that went to see Muhammad as well, isn't there?
Yes.
Time. Yeah.
They converted, and he explained to them how they should worship God and what they should do and not do.
Yeah, but so this is what's confusing to me from the outside, where on one level you're told not to communicate with the jinn. However, we can read about Muhammad, and Muhammad has converted jinns to be Muslim. Yeah, so the point is there's a grey area of not wanting to contact and contacting. Yeah, I believe when the Imrans are doing ruqya, they often ask the jinn if it wants to convert to Islam.
Yes.
And if it converts to Islam, they allow it to be free.
Yes, because he will stop harming the people. Yes.
Yes. So I mean, it's from a Western viewpoint, it's very, very difficult to sort of work out where the line is. Yeah, it's it's very hard. You're not supposed to communicate with the jinn.
Well, that's what the Brian. That's what the Sheikh does. He communicates with the jinn.
Yeah, but they're supposed to just exercise them. Am I correct, Sheikh?
We exercise them, but it's not the bare communication that is not allowed. What is not allowed is doing satanic pacts with the jinns. And if you are preaching them to become good, to become Muslim, to stop harming people, you cannot use them for wrong purposes.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I mean, so we're talking about intention, yeah?
Yeah, the intention and also the acts. The acts must be positive.
So you must be psychic then, Sheikh.
You must be.
Well, we, how can I say, we use the Quran to bring the jinns, to convert them. If they don't want, that's going to burn them. Now, if we need to tell them, for example, when we finish, we will send them to fight the magicians. So we read one verse that says, fight the allies of the devil. And the jinns will see that now they are Muslim, they have to fight back those they were working with, which are the magicians. So that's how we send them to do what God wants them to do, and to have a positive role. After they were doing evil on earth, they will be doing good.
What do you think of that, Brian?
Well, like I said, I mean, as a Westerner, it's very confusing to me. I understand it's the intention behind it, but I mean, there's also other situations like Mr. Abdul Karim, who was very pious during life, and he turned into a jinn. Do you know about him, Sheikh? Yeah.
No, he turned into a jinn.
They call him Mr. Abdul Karim. Yeah. Okay. The surah to call him is the Al-Qatwa.
Well, I don't know about this, but there's so many things they say about jinns. I understand that the thing is confusing because, from my point of view, many Muslims are doing what is wrong. So we can't expect you that are not Muslim to make the difference when ourselves are having confusion in our community.
Yeah, I'm Muslim. I hand up at the front. I'm Muslim.
Yeah,
you're Muslim.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Can I ask a question?
Summer. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a question. Well, two really for the Sheikh. Are there angels in Islam? And if there are angels, can they protect you against the jinn?
There are angels. I told you that Iblis was close to the angels before disobeying. Well, they are angels, and the angels only do what Allah tells them to do. They have no will of themselves. And the angels do protect a human. Well, in a way, I can say that we don't feel it because they don't one day come, one day don't come. They're here to protect us naturally. And yet there's a natural thing that makes that human can be affected by illness, by accidents, and also by jinns and by magic. That is how Allah has created this world, that those things can happen. So the angels will not particularly stop the jinns from affecting us.
Okay, can the angels heal you?
Oh, they could if Allah wants it, but that is exceptional because the rule is that Allah created for each illness a remedy, and Allah wants us to look for this remedy and to find out the correct way of treating ourselves, because the remedies do exist in the nature, in the world that Allah has created. But it can happen that by prayers or by an exceptional situation that God will heal you through angels directly without using anything.
That's interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. And do you believe that Allah and Yahweh of the Old Testament are one and the same?
That Allah what?
And Yahweh from the Old Testament. You know the Old Testament, Yahweh. Do you believe that?
Yes, we believe it is the same. We believe Allah has created Adam and sent Noah and sent Ibrahim and Yusuf and Musa. So all that is the same God who's sent all of them, yes.
Okay, what do you think of that, Brian?
I don't know. Can I just ask another question? I mean, to the Sheikh, have you come across the Qadam?
Across
the Qadam.
Qadal.
The Qadam, yeah, Qadam.
No, what is it?
It's a supergority angel connected with the Muslim religion. It's an angel. It's in between a jinn and an angel. It's stronger than a jinn. It's an angel that lives in our level of consciousness, and it's called the Qadam. Yeah.
Oh, Khuddam.
Yeah, Khuddam. Sorry, Khuddam. Yeah.
Yes.
Khuddam.
Yes, Khuddam. Yes. I came across that quite a bit. Yes.
Yeah, because
did you come across it in a ring?
In a ring?
Yeah, is it? Did you, because Brian has one trapped in a ring?
Yeah, I have a Haddam ring.
Yes, well, from my point of view, all that is fake, and all those Khaddam are just deceiving people, and it's nothing good and nothing positive in that.
But you think it's Jinn?
Yeah.
Not Haddam. Yeah.
Khaddam is just a case of Jinn.
Yeah, because I must admit the ring has saved me several times. Yeah. Like I was almost in a really terrible accident in India.
Yeah.
And literally, what happened was that a motorcyclist cut in front of me, and I had my daughter on the back with her baby, and I can't even tell you how it missed. I've got no idea how it missed, and essentially it missed. How it missed, I don't know. And we weren't even injured. Nothing happened to us, and it was like a complete miracle. When I got off the motorcycle, I went into a friend's house that was dark, because it was it's India, and literally the ring was glowing blue. It was amazing to see it. It was glowing bright blue. Seriously, it was. It's like, but for what you're saying is the chances are it is not a Khaddam that's in the ring. It's some kind of genie.
Yeah.
It's a genie, yeah.
And when you've come across them, Sheik, have you come across them always in a ring or not always in a ring?
No, not always in a ring. It can be just with some words to say. It can be writings on papers. And we get them from the books, because we take the books that are the manuals of making the rings and making the papers. And then we take out we bring the jinns that are related to these books.
All right. What is it called again? Can you spell it, please?
Yeah.
I think it's
No, he spells it differently.
Well, one is Khadim and many is Khaddam.
How do you spell that then?
Well, Khaddam, Kha, you don't have Kha in English, so we usually write it KH.
Okay. Yeah, KH. It's like that. It's like that. Yeah, KHODAM, I believe. I didn't realize it was Khaddam. There you go. I need to learn more. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Where do we get to, Jana? Have you any more questions?
Well, I was just curious about the Jinn and women. I think I've listened to you talk, I think, on somebody else's show, and you talked, this is for the Sheikh, you talked about how the Jinn can affect women, and I was just curious about that.
Yes, the jinns affect women, while they also affect men. I guess they affect women more. Well, there's many things to say about it. That first, women are more affected by magic, because magic is mostly a question of jealousy, and that happens mostly between women than between men. The second point is that when magic is done for women, it is mostly done for marriage and birth, and for men it is mostly done for business, work and money. So that magic done to the woman for marriage and children, they use lover jinns for that. So they will send a jinn to the lady that will take her as a wife, but you must understand that for jinns, there's not really marriage like humans. It's more like animal life. When a couple like each other, they will just become a couple, and that's it. There's no celebration, or they just go together. So the jinn thinks that if he jumps on this female and takes her as his wife, so that's it. It's his wife, and so he will prevent her getting married. So that mainly makes sexual dreams that are unusual and very frequent. so this is what happens a lot with women, and so also women get possessed by jinns more than men. So they fall, they scream, etc. They go in hysteria. Well, because they are mainly because they are more emotional. So a lady can cry easier than a man, or be afraid easier than a man. So that emotion makes her lose control of herself, and that helps the jinn to control her. So these are the differences between man and woman concerning jinn and magic, but the men are also affected.
So, would it be that a beautiful lady jinn would come to a man and try and get him to marry her and stop him from marrying?
That does happen.
Mm.
But it happens more the other way, but that also happens.
Interesting. Is there anything that women can do to protect themselves then from the jinns that want to seduce them?
Well, you must know that if you do any sins, now it depends on your religion, what is, because if you do any sins, that will be an open door for bad jinns to participate. So, for example, if you take drugs, because drugs is, I think, forbidden in all religions. So if you take drugs, so that will attract jinns to take the drugs with you and to give you addiction, so you love it more and more. So it is the same for any kinds of sins. So to be protected from jinns and demons, you have to keep away from sins. Well, I'll give you an example. I had one patient, and she had lover jinns, and I suspected that her behavior was not very correct. I said, but how are you behaving? She said, no, I'm normal. I'm just behaving. I'm shy. And I asked more. So she was living without marriage with a man who was not Muslim. And she worked as a top model. So she was giving her body for any photos all the time. And to complete her earning, she was working in a striptease in a night cabaret. So, so I said, the way you are living, you will have hundreds and hundreds of lover jinns after you, because when you show yourself to men, and the men are watching, but they can't jump on you, but the jinns can jump on you. You see, so if you wake up their desire, they will jump on you. Not men just watching you. So that's a point. Now, if you do get these jinns that are attacking you in your dream, that are having sex with you or other things, so you must know that you can beat them in the dream. You can always beat them in the dream. Now, you can easily beat them by catching them and reading prayer, or just beating them with your bare hands or anything you find, and they will die in the dream. Because what happens in the dream, it is a dream for us, but it is a reality for the jinns. So, for example, if a jinn kills you in the dream, you will wake up afraid as you had a bad nightmare. But if you kill him, he will be dead, and that will be finished. And if you kill 2 or 3 of them, there's none of them that will come again in your dream. So that is something you can do. And as I have said already to Chris, so the good way of treating yourself from all this, you have to pray on water and oil. So you can use your own prayers, you can pray in your own words, you can use our Muslim Quran prayers or anything, but you must say, oh God, you created me, created man and jinn, I ask you to help me out of this, to cure me from these devils. And you just keep on saying it your own way for about 20 minutes. That is what is needed to make this water effective enough to chase away the jinns and cure the magic. And you're going to drink and wash your whole body with it, and also spray all of your house with this water. In the same time, you will be reading on oil, so olive oil or any oil that is good to massage your body, like almond oil or your creams. And after you wash, and before you sleep, you will rub all your body with this oil, so that will also chase them away and protect you from them.
That's really good advice, thank you. It's been known that with Christian people, some Christians have reported that people who live a strict spiritual Christian life, sometimes they get harassed by demons, and it's almost like the demons are targeting them because they know that they're spiritually trying to be pure. So it's like a challenge for them. Does that happen in Islam?
It does happen. But what happens mostly is that those people have jinns from before, and those jinns are sort of sleeping, or anyway, they had in the beginning in life that is compatible with those bad jinns. And when they start praying more and reading Quran more and moving away from sin, so those jinns rebel and don't want them like that, and they want them back in the bad track. So that's what happens mostly. Now, it does happen that someone, just because he's pious and he's doing, so some devils come and try absolutely to drive him astray, but that is quite rare.
So, what was the just to get back? What was the problem with having sex with a jinn? What was the problem with that?
You're selling your soul.
Sorry, I just missed. You lose your soul.
Well,
Is it? I just wondered. It just struck me. What's the problem?
You lose your soul, I think.
You should enjoy it very much in your dream, because when that happens with the jinns, it is like a pure pleasure without the physical problems. You see, if you have sex with a normal human, it can be dry, it can be this. You can have a bad smell. It said some things can make it not nice, but when it comes in the dream, it is purely, you only have the good parts of it. So, but you will have this jinn that mostly will stop you getting married, and he will also push you to have relations, sexual relations that are not allowed. So he will make the marriage impossible, and he will push you to having bad relations. For example, I have this girl patient that came with her mother, and her mother told me that whenever she has someone who wants to marry her, as soon as she sleeps with him, the guy will go. So that's not the right thing to do for us Muslims. You mustn't have sex before getting married. But anyway, that was the idea. The girl was doing that in order to get a husband, so she should sleep with him and show him how nice she is and everything. But as soon as she sleeps with him, he's not interested anymore. So that's what the jinns want. He wants her to go from man to man to man to man and never get married. So that is the bad part of it. Now, if the person accepts to marry this jinn, so that can become a business, because that jinn can show you things, so you become a seer and you'll be forecasting people's future and doing things, and you can even become a magician, and many of them are working like that. So then you will be completely satanic person by working with this jinn.
Hey, you've just described me, I think, in a little bit of a way. No, seriously, because I, throughout my life, whenever I meet somebody that I think, this will be sort of, good relationship, I always kind of start obsessing about their exes and who they've been out with before. And even if it's somebody, you wouldn't worry about, not exactly, Christy Turlington or whatever, I sort of start thinking, oh, they still like them. And then I will get rid of them because I think, they still like someone else. And then I'll just get rid of them. And interestingly, I work as a psychic and a medium, and I do see the future. So what does that mean?
Well, it's possible that you have a jinn with you, making you do all these things, and you think it's yourself, but it's him guiding your life the way that suits him.
Right. How do you get rid of that then? I don't remember ever giving my permission for that.
No, but you're doing it. That's good enough for him.
Well, obviously the psychic stuff was coming. Well, actually, no, I used to do that all along, I suppose, with investigations work, the psychic stuff. So I suppose I've always used that. But if you want to sort of say why, that's enough, how do you do that? Okay,
so how do you do that? You're going to speak to him before you go to sleep, okay? Right. Supposing you sleep in the night, because the time that you go to sleep, that is the time that he wakes up and starts to do his life. So that is the best time to catch him. And you tell him, listen, I think you've been loving me for this time. Now it's finished. I don't want to see you again. And you're going to read this verse of Quran. So it is verse 21 of Surah 30. So you have to take the reference, chapter 30, verse 21. This verse says, it is a sign of God that he has done for yourself, from yourselves, wives or husbands, so you get peace with them, and he puts between you love and mercy. So this verse shows that every species should marry from his own species and not from other species. So when we read this verse to the jinns, they understand that this relation with the humans is a dead end for us and for them. And they will see what Allah has given them, wives and husbands of their own kind, with which they will be much happier.
So that's Surah Ar-Rum, yeah?
Yeah, Ar-Rum, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Verse 21. So you read this about 20 times. You can read it in English, or any language. It will work. So after you read that, well, you say, if I see you again in my dream, I will kill you. And that should be good enough, inshallah.
Sheikh, may I ask something? Solomon, yeah? Solomon. Yes. He was with Balkis, yeah, or Sheba. And yes, allegedly Sheba was Jinn.
Well, it is a legend indeed that she was half Jinn. One of her parents was Jinn.
Yeah, I just wondered what you thought of that. I mean, she's not called Sheba in the Quran. She's called Balkis, and I always wondered why she's called Balkis and not Sheba.
Well, even Balkis is not in the Quran; it's just in our history.
Oh, it's your history. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah.
See, I don't remember ever doing.
But
I don't remember.
She was the king. She was the queen of Saba, of Sheba, queen of Sheba. But yes, Balkis is her name, his personal name.
Oh, it's a personal name, right? Because in the West we know her as the Queen of Sheba. Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
okay.
Queen of.
Yeah.
I don't understand how somebody can have a Jinn lover and not not know about it.
Well, the man's just told you. You know, there's no there's no such thing as psychic. There's no such thing as psychic. Essentially, you have connection with a jinn, and the jinn allows you to be psychic.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no such thing as a natural psychic. It's somebody who has naturally got a jinn, in a nutshell.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, indeed, that's how it is. And people, for example, if you have this jinn from inheritage, so since your mother or father, and there was something, so before, since your pregnancy, the jinn's there, and since you're young, the jinns have been playing with you. So you think you always had it, but you always had jinns. Now, if someone had this experience quite a long time with jinns, so even if the jinn leaves, the person can still see and feel what the jinn used to show him. So that can happen that way. So it will start with jinns, and then the person will end up having those feelings and perceptions himself.
Is that okay?
Well, yes. It's okay if you just feel it now, but depends what you do with it. Yeah, if you use it...
You can't tell people the future and stuff like that?
No, you can't, because when the jinns say about the future, it's not that they know the future. It is that's what they forecast. For example, if I say that your radio program is going to have a big success, it's not that I know the future. It's that the way I analyze the situation, that's what I understand that's going to happen. But for example, if the jinn tells you you're going to do this and that, so if you ask him, what if I die tomorrow? He said, oh, no, I have no idea about that. So,
well, no, I have to disagree, because not only have I prophesied things that have happened, I've had dreams about my life that I've done this and that, and I thought, well, there's no way I'd do that, and then it has occurred. And also, I went to another psychic once, and he said, you'll be doing this, you'll be doing that, and it actually occurred. So I think
certainly either we or they can tell the future.
But I think you could also be talking about what I may make a mess of this, the Quarim, yeah, or the Hazmat, yeah, the Quarim, yeah.
No, the Qarin. Well, yeah, I know the Qarin, but the Qarin doesn't involve in this. It is jinns that are with the person, that give it the future, etc.
But you don't believe that it is the future, that they're making it up. You don't believe that they can see ahead of time to a certain extent. I do. Of course they will be able to see ahead of our time. They can time travel, can't they?
No, they don't time travel. No, they don't. As far as I know, they don't time travel. But I tell you what I know is that they see what is supposed to happen, and that's how they see things differently than we see. So the way they see things, that this is what's going to happen. Now, if something changes, for example, if you change your behavior, or something that was not supposed to happen happens, so that will change all the program.
Yeah, but I met a Jinn master in India, and he was telling me that the Jinn is similar to a bird. It's above you, so it can see slightly further than you, yeah, but it can't see the future. But it can see a little bit further, so it can tell you something which is likely to happen. Yeah, and people misconstrued that as the future. The fact that it can have this ability, but it's not really an ability to see into the future. It's just an ability to see that little bit further than we can. That's what I was told. I don't know if that's correct.
Well, okay, that's an example to make things understandable. Actually, the Jinn see the spiritual side of the world. They also see our physical side, that the world we know, but they see the spiritual side, and that is in that spiritual world they see that this is going that way and that is going this way, and that's how things are going to happen. It's like your GPS that tells you that you're going to reach in an hour.
Right. But, okay. Yeah, that seems more logical.
Oh.
Really good.
Interesting. John, have you got any more questions?
Not really. I was just thinking that sounds like how in the Bible and within Christianity you're advised or you're told not to have anything to do with any forms of fortune telling or anything that looks at the future or divination, because it's demonic. And demons are outside of time and space, so they can see, like we're in linear time, aren't we? So they can see things that we can't see, and they can also like read your mind and so they know things about you. So it occurred to me while the Sheikh was talking that was somewhat similar, probably not exactly the same, but somewhat similar to the Jinn.
Well, yes, that's an interesting point. Do you think that they can read our minds, Sheikh?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yes, because they read our minds. That is very natural for them.
So that's why you shouldn't have anything to do with any form of fortune telling.
You just once we caught a Jinn that was fortune telling, and I was telling him to accept to become Muslim. He said, "Wait! Your son is ill. He's going to cure. He's going to cure fast." I said, "Okay. Do you want to become Muslim?" He said, "Oh, wait! Yes, you have a problem for this. It's going to be solved." I said, "Okay. Do you want to be?" And he said, yes. You're going to go to paradise. You're going to go to paradise." And what the Jinn was doing, he was reading in my mind my worries and my concerns, and he was telling me systematically that everything is going to be fine. You see, so that is his job. So when you go to these fortune tellers, they will read what you want to hear and give you things without you explaining anything about your situation, because their jinns can read your mind.
It's like during exorcisms, Catholic priests report that sometimes the demons tell them say out loud that things about their life, maybe things that are bad, and they say, well, you've done this and you've done that, and so they know everything.
Well, I have a funny story. I had one guy, he was possessed, and finally his jinn became Muslim. And he told me that once he was possessed in the mosque, and the people caught him and started reading Quran on him. And he stopped the jinn speaking because the jinn wanted to say, you are reading Quran on me when you stole the money from the mosque, and you have cheated on your wife, and now you're reading Quran on me. And the jinn wanted to tell each one of them what wrong things he was doing, and there's no point of them reading Quran on him. But that guy who was possessed, he was holding his mouth and stopping himself from speaking so that the jinn does not disclose everything these people are doing. So yes, indeed, the jinn can read people's minds very easily.
Interesting.
Interesting. I mean, Sheikh, in the last few minutes, do you mind if you explain the Quarim to me? I've read about the Quarim. Yeah? Is that possible?
Yeah, the Qarin is a devil that is stuck with a person inside his body, and his role is to do the waswasa, means to give him bad thoughts. He's one of the sons of Satan, and he is born from the devils of the two parents of the person. So whenever someone is born, a new devil is born with him, and his role is to affect him negatively, to go against God and against religion, and to take him to hell. That is his job exclusively. Now, if someone manages to beat his qarin by worshipping and by being straight and not being influenced, so eventually...
Yeah, we're coming to the end of the show. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sheikh.
I want to thank you very much, Brian, for being on Brian Barrott. And
thanks, Dan.
Thank you for listening to Revolution